Cherokee, 040 with Kilo Tower, winds 1108, runway 7 short, and clear to land.
Cleared to land, 04 Lima.
And we're always kind of going right to left. We've got the radio tuned, and everyone can hear us right now. That's on all. It's also on speaker. We can turn that off. Our markers are on, and then our weather set, and the local channel set. Ooh, primer is in and locked. The mixture is rich. Throttle's kind of closed. We're looking down here. See this?
Yeah.
It's in the N position. That's neutral.
Okay.
Okay? That means that it's not going to climb. It's set for takeoff.
Okay.
Okay?
But what about this number 4 one right here? Nav 1, is that in?
Yeah, it's in.
Okay.
It would pop way out.
Oh, okay.
And as we come through, we're looking to make sure these are our fuel tanks. So the right tank has 15, the left one has 10. So for takeoff, we want to be on the right tank. So I make sure that this is on over here. We're checking our fuel pressure, which is good. Our fuel pump has to be on before we take off, so the fuel pressure is good. The amps are good. We always check that just with the landing light to make sure the alternator is working. Oil temperature doesn't really matter right now because we're kind of on the ground. It'll come up as we start taking off. Oil pressure is good, volts are good, and we're going to check our suction here in just a minute.
Okay.
We'll listen one more time to the weather.
Altimeter 3001. Remarks. Density altitude 700. Airport, Defiance, Ohio. Automated weather observation 2343.
This is kind of how it works.
Wind 310.
310,
07.
so we're doing good.
Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. 14 Celsius. Dew point -03 Celsius.
Okay, so he said the altimeter was 3001, and I happen to know that Defiance is 700 feet, so we're setting that. We're setting our heading, our vertical compass, to make sure it matches our compass, right? And it also matches here, so we're good. Now what we're going to do is we check our flight controls. You make sure that one goes up, that one goes down. This one goes up, that one goes down. You pull back. You don't feel anything real notchy, you push forward. And we know the rudder works because we got here, right? Yeah. Okay. Now what we do is a run-up check to make sure that the engine's going to continue to function while we're in the air. So we hold the brakes, and we take it up to 2,000 RPM. Our RPM is down here, and we want to hold it kind of right at about 2,000. Now this has 2 magnetos in it. So we check the first magneto, we turn it off, you get a 50 RPM drop, turn it back on, the RPM recovers. Go to the left magneto, 50 RPM drop, turn it back on, it recovers. Then we try our carb heat because it's carbureted. Carb heat on, 50 RPM drop, and it recovers. And then what we do is we pull it back down to an idle, and we watch to see if the engine stalls. Engine continues to run, no problem.
Okay.
Okay?
What's this red button do?
That's what.
Worry about that.
Don't push the red button.
Don't push the red button.
Oh my goodness. What this does is this gives you control to be able to talk to everybody.
Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima is taking off 30, Defiance.
So stay with me. Don't put any pressure on anything, but just kind of feel the controls as we get ready to take off.
Okay.
We're going to line up and check one last gauge. Again. Make sure nothing's changed. And it says we should be heading at 30. So we just tune this in a little bit. 30, 30. Are we ready?
Yep.
You guys ready?
Ready.
Okay. Heels on the floor, balls of your feet on the rudder. Airspeed's alive. What we're looking for is about 60 knots, and because we're fully loaded, it's going to take us a minute to get there. And we get there, and we ease into it. Not too much, because we're fully loaded. And we just fly down the runway. Now what we're looking for, it gets a little bit bumpy over the trees. We'll be just fine. Let's go fly over Bryan, shall we?
Yep.
Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima, we'll be departing the pattern to the north. Defiance.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to maintain 500 feet per minute climb. Okay, our altitude's coming up. We want to stay coordinated, and we're cruising at about 90 knots, and actually this says our ground speed right now is about 100 miles an hour. And what we're going to do, we're going to kind of zoom in here a little bit. We're going to go up to about 2,000 feet. We're going to go over here to Williamstown.
Coldwater traffic, Cherokee 4889 Lima, downwind 25 Coldwater.
What we're going to do is we're going right over there. Make sure you're watching for birds and airplanes and everything else. Now here's what's really funny about airplanes. Let me show you something. You got both hands on it. Relax. Take your hands off. Let me show you something. Airplanes want to fly. And occasionally we just got to nudge them to tell them what we want them to do. Nothing to it. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to pull our power back just a little bit.
Coldwater Cherokee, Coldwater traffic, Cherokee 4889 Lima is base 25 Coldwater. Coldwater traffic, Cherokee 800 Lima, on final 25 Coldwater.
Oops.
Altimeter 3.
Williams County traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima is 4 to the south, 2,500. I'll be crossing midfield and sightseeing over Bryan, Williams County.
So if you look really close, the airport's going to be right over here, right over the nose of the airplane. Let me see if you can see it yet. Anybody?
I think I see it. Is it that big strip?
Huh?
The big strip of grass right there?
Nope, not a big strip of grass. We're going to end up flying right over it. There's an airplane. Right over there.
Yep, we see it.
Williams County traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima, we have the traffic over Williams County. We're going to be diverting back to the north.
Roger, I see you guys up there. Sorry.
Traffic, this is Cessna November 6 0745. We're 4 miles to the west of the airport. We're entering a 45 right down for runway 36, Wood County.
So that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
He said, yeah, I'm sorry. And the airport is going to be right down here on our left. And if you guys look, there's a train down here.
Wood County traffic, this is Cessna November 60745. We're 1 mile to the west of the airport, entering 45 right down runway 36, Wood County.
Now see, now our ground speed is picked up. We got a little bit of a tailwind. So we're at 115. It says we're doing about 115, so it's not too windy up here. So now if we want to make a turn, okay, real easy. I only use just a couple of fingers. It's just like you're driving your car.
Okay.
The goal is you want to keep the horizon kind of right in front of you. And let's go down and we're going to fly over Bryan.
Okay.
You ready? We're going to make a left turn. Now when we make a turn, we start to bank into it, and then we pull just a little bit. We want to keep that nose even on the horizon. So
Okay.
you're climbing a little bit. We'll fly into the sunset. Not too bad.
Williams County traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima is over midfield 2,500. We're going to be sightseeing over Bryan, Williams County.
Wood County traffic, this is Cessna November 60745. We're entering a right 45 down runway 36, Wood County.
You're flying. Wherever you want to go. Now, we don't want to make your mom sick, but here's the basic principles, okay? We want to go right, we go right. We want to go left, we go left. You want to go up, you pull back. You want to go down, you push down.
36, Wood County.
Okay back there?
I'm okay.
Okay,
Don't do that again.
okay. Let's see if you can spot any of the main roads. You know where you're at?
There's Titan Tire right there, isn't it?
Yeah. Now make sure you're watching all your gauges. We start with our airspeed, then we come down, we look at our heading, we look at our altitude. Are we climbing, are we sinking? You're doing it. You're flying an airplane all by yourself. I like this. There's the Bryan Hospital down there on our left. Walmart is almost right over the wing right now.
Wood County traffic, Cessna November 60745, turning away base for runway 36, Wood County.
Well, let's fly over here real quick. I want to go see my police range. The police range, where I'm going to be next tomorrow, where we do all of our shooting. We'll turn into it here in a little bit. We're going to drop a couple hundred feet. The police range is actually right down here. There's a little patch of grass in the middle of this woods.
Wood County traffic, Cessna November 60745, sound final, runway 36, Wood County.
Right down there. See that little,
Yep, I see it.
see the little white building in there?
Yep.
That is the police range. And that line in the middle of the grass is where we stand and shoot. Over there is Bryan High School and the racetrack. And Walmart is directly over there off the left wing right now.
Go land in their parking lot, pick up some groceries.
Yeah. Now here's what's really funny. Look at this. Right now you're doing 100 miles an hour based on this, right? Or 120 miles an hour in the air is how fast you're going right now. Look at your ground speed. The ground speed, we're going 140 miles an hour.
Is that because the wind?
Yep, the wind is directly behind us. That's why you're feeling that kind of push. So that tells us that since we're doing about maybe 120 miles an hour, we have a 20 mile an hour wind pushing us. And then if we turn back around to go over Bryan again, you'll watch the airspeed will start to slow. Not too much. We got passengers in the back. We want to make nice gentle turns about 15 or 20 degrees. Each one of these is about, this is 10, 15, 20, 30, 45. So we want just a nice gentle turn. And if you do it right, your passengers won't even really feel it. Make sure you're scanning for airplanes. It's okay to sightsee, but you want to be able to look out and make sure things are going okay. We'll fly over the square down here, and then we'll kind of turn around and we'll head back down and we'll fly over Defiance. Wow, look at this, 121. There's a good shot of the Bryan Airport right over there. And then right down here on this side is the Bryan Square. They're starting to turn their lights on in the center of town.
Here's the baseball field.
Where's that?
Right over there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now in the Skyhawk, the high-wing airplane, you can see down really good, but in my airplane, you can kind of see out a little better. All right, let's bring this thing around this way, and let's go back down and find Defiance. Let's fly over the river for a few minutes. Nice and easy. Watch your altitude, you're climbing. See this? Don't sink, don't climb. You make your passengers really sick, especially back in the back.
Does that mean we shouldn't dive?
Yeah. They don't like that. And they don't like it when you play with the rudder either. Trust me.
And Williams County traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima is over midfield, 2,800. We'll be departing back to the south, Williams County.
And then what we do,
Canterville traffic, 0603 Bravo Lima, turning final 28.
now with your passengers in the back, the rudder, what the rudder does is the rudder makes you yaw. Makes your airplane fly straight or crooked. So if we put left rudder in, it kind of does one of these numbers. And now for us, we're on the center of the plane, so it doesn't feel bad. They're behind us, right?
Yeah.
They're another 3 feet behind us. So if we're sitting here and we're pivoting, what are they doing in the back?
They're swinging all
They're
over.
swinging all over the place. That's why we don't do it. Now we'll switch back over to Defiance.
Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima, 7 to the north, 3,000. We'll be crossing midfield en route to do some sightseeing over Defiance.
And what we're kind of doing is we're checking here. We're kind of looking at all of our gauges as we're flying. We come down here, our volts, our oil pressure. Make sure your oil temperature's coming up. We're still charging. We're still got enough fuel. Fuel pressure's still fine. Right, speed, we're kind of back and forth between all our gauges. We're always looking at our attitude indicator. So attitude indicator, speed. Attitude indicator, turn coordinator. Attitude indicator, compass. Attitude indicator, altitude. We keep coming back. This is our key gauge. And while we're doing all that, we're looking up. And you're trying to fly to get to the airport. Lot to do, huh?
Yeah.
Mason traffic, Saratoga 96 Tango, east, pattern to the southwest, Mason.
And and your ground speed's back up a little bit. You're 130. Now the thing to be careful of is you start, see, you were pulling, weren't you?
Yeah.
Let the airplane fly. As you start pulling up, what happens is we trim for airspeed, and we use power for altitude. So pitch equals speed, power equals altitude. So if we added power, we're at 2400 right now. If we added power and we did nothing else to the airplane, it's going to climb at 110 knots. Okay? If we pull the power, we're going to sink, but we're going to continue to fly at 110 knots, or 140 miles an hour, with the tailwind. See the airport yet? Or are you lost? How about that way?
Yeah, say, isn't it right there?
In front of you?
Yeah.
About 3 miles?
Traffic, Skyhawk 904 Victor is entering left base, runway 36, set to go Warsaw.
Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima, crossing midfield, 3000. Do some sightseeing over Defiance. Defiance traffic.
So let's take your mom down, let's fly over the river. Just keep flying straight. Don't pull. The more you pull, the sicker they get back in the back, because then you do a lot of corrections. Remember, airplane's flying straight and level all by itself. All you have to do is correct it and tell it where you want it to go. Keep looking for airplanes. Don't give up looking for airplanes. If you look really close, you see Toledo over there along the skyline?
Yeah.
And if you look, let's see here, if you look, it's a little hazy. If you look to the west, you can also see all of the
windmills.
See all the windmills over there?
Yeah.
And if you look in that direction, you should see the skyline for Fort Wayne as well. But Toledo's just really easy to see because the sun is behind us. And you can actually see this from Davis-Besse.
Savannah Grind, Cessna 53908, Charlie 5 west, inbound for the left downwind 02, Savannah Grind.
Warsaw traffic, Skyhawk 94 Victor is turning left base, runway.
Does that mean it's starting to drop?
Warsaw.
Oh, that's fine. This one at about 100 feet per minute is actually level.
Okay.
So it's flying perfect. Cruising right along at about 105, 106 knots right now. 140 miles an hour on the ground. 2,750, 2,770. We're pretty close. Now you're getting ready to cross right up over the river and downtown Defiance.
Warsaw traffic, Skyhawk 94 Victor is turning final, runway 36, set to go Warsaw.
And then we're back to checking our gauges again. Volts are good, outside. Attitude indicators, okay, outside. Oil pressure is good, suction's good, oil temperature is good, outside. Back to the attitude indicator. We're turning a little bit, so we straighten it out. Then we come down, and we're looking at our fuel gauges, making sure we're doing okay on the fuel. Looking at our altitude, and back out for airplanes. Let's kind of go over and look at downtown, look at the river. Now, you remember that inlet the last time and how muddy it was?
Yeah. Right up here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right here on the left. It's kind of fun from up here because you can see all of it.
Yeah.
There's the skyline from Toledo. And if you look a little bit farther A little bit more, almost straight east. Davis Bessie is out there. You can see Wasion and Napoleon. And you're only at 2,700.
Charlie, left downwind 02, Urbana Grimes.
You're doing good.
Traffic,
You're really doing good. You've been flying ever since we took off.
Downwind for runway 25 quarter.
South traffic, Skyhawk 94 Victor, departing the traffic pattern to the northeast.
Pushing and pulling a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, it started to go up.
That's okay. You don't have to fight it too much. It'll bounce around a little bit. There's all the rapids down there off of that side. That's actually a state park down there.
Huh.
Urbana Grimes, 98 Charlie, left base 02, Urbana Grimes.
Ray Airport, Cessna 8625 Tango 7 to the west, inbound runway 3.
See if the lights come on over the airport. See the airport from here? Yep, lights come on. We'll fly over the airport once and we'll bring it in and land and see if we see any deer. This time of night, we're always trying to fly over first. We kind of want to do a pass. We're looking for airplanes. Most importantly, this time of night, we're looking for deer.
Okay.
Urbana Grimes, 98 Charlie, final 02, Urbana Grimes.
We always check our weather again before we land.
Automated weather observation 0012 Zulu. Wind 31.
Coldwater traffic, Cherokee 89 Lima's left base 25 Coldwater.
Sky condition
310 at something.
Temperature 13. Dew point minus 03.
There. Now nobody can interrupt it.
Altimeter 3002. Remarks. Density altitude 600. Defiance Memorial Airport, Defiance, Ohio.
Coldwater traffic, Cherokee 89 Lima's turning final 25 Coldwater.
What we're going to do, okay, give me the controls.
At 06.
Okay, go ahead and put your hands down because we're going to come across midfield and we're going to start a little bit of a landing.
Clear. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point minus 03 Celsius. Altimeter 3002. Remarks. Density altitude.
And Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima. 4 busy west, 2,500. We'll be crossing midfield, entering a left downwind for 30. Defiance.
So now, I haven't changed anything except I lowered the RPM a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Our airspeed stays exactly the same, look, and we're sinking. You feel that little bit of a sink?
Yeah.
Now the pattern altitude in Defiance is 1,600, we're 2,500. So we're going to bleed off some of our altitude by just lowering the power just a little bit. And see, the lights are on, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to come out here and look in the fields for the deer we saw the other night. And we're kind of checking 114, wow.
Density altitude 500. Defiance Memorial Airport, Defiance, Ohio. Automated weather observation 0014 Zulu. Wind 310 at 06. Visibility.
We'll slow it down on our own.
And Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima. 1 to the north, we'll be crossing midfield, entering a left downwind for 30. Defiance.
Okay, you can keep your feet on the rudders with me, but don't push. I just want you to kind of feel them, okay?
Okay.
Now, the wind is coming from this way. It's coming at 310. The runway is 30. So we kind of nose out, and you notice we're kind of flying sideways.
Yeah.
Right? Our pattern altitude is 1,600, and we're coming up on 1,900. So by the time we get downwind, we'll be exactly right. And we're cruising along at about 114 miles an hour, about 102 knots. Okay, at this point, we're going to have a stereo cockpit. I have the controls. Unless you see an airplane, a bird, or something that's going to cause us danger, don't say anything.
In Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima is left downwind 30, Defiance.
And what we continue to do is kind of level off here. We line ourselves up almost with the runway. Once we get a beam the numbers, which means if you look out this way, as soon as we get right at the end of the runway, we actually pull the power back to about 17, and we try and trim the airplane up, and we add a notch of flaps. We fly out here. We're managing our airspeed right now is what we're trying to do.
In Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima, left base 30, Defiance.
One more notch of flaps. We try and protect for that ballooning feeling, and we're managing our airspeed. Now the wind is kind of pushing us this way. And I'll show you what we're looking at here in a second.
In Defiance traffic, Cherokee 5304 Lima, short final 30, Defiance.
Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point -03 Celsius. Altitude.
Okay, now we're looking at that light on the left. You see that light that's blinking? And it's blinking white? That says that we're too high. When that light gets solid, it means we're on the glide slope, and that's kind of where we want to be. Now look, I'm not really doing anything to the airplane. We're just managing our power and a little bit of airspeed. See how the blinking is starting to slow down? Landing into the sunset. Look at that. See, that's almost perfect right there. We want that light, a nice solid white. And then as we get too low, see how it turns red? But we are going to make the runway. So then what we do is we just hold it off, hold it off, hold it off. And that's it. You've landed. We'll go up here and now what we do is, oh, flaps are back up. Mixture is rich, fuel pumps off. We open the window to give us a little bit of air. Did great.
Thanks.